Sorry for the delay this morning. I appreciate your patience. Thank you. So we are now streaming, and I feel comfortable calling this meeting to order. It is now 10:21 on this Friday, June 2nd, 2023, for the meeting of the Advisory Council for Post-Secondary Education for Students with Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities. This meeting is being held via Zoom, and before we begin, I would like to take the opportunity to welcome those that have joined via video conference, and that is basically everyone, so hi. Before we begin, please be aware that we are meeting via Zoom and that this is being streamed on the internet via YouTube, and this meeting is also being recorded. So Waylon is here and I'm here today at the Barbara Jordan building for this meeting. And so we just ask that in order for us to comply with the Open Meetings Act, that all of you members turn on your video when speaking and when voting. I also just like to see your faces throughout the meeting. And so if you could just leave them on, that would be appreciated. So first off, we are going to try to establish a quorum through a roll call. Each member should identify themselves prior to speaking, just for the record. And if y'all are, if you can also just wait for a person to finish speaking before saying your comment, that way nothing is muddled or unclear, and feel free to use the raise your hand function too. So Waylon and the other coordinating board staff are here, and they're going to be managing the Zoom for us today. And if there are any issues with tech, please message either Kendra or Waylon, and they can help you with that. And I do not see any guests currently, but any guests that do join us, they will be muted unless they're recognized by me, and we'll unmute them and allow them to speak. So first off, Waylon is going to recognize all of the members, staff, and guests present in the room and ask us all to introduce yourself. So when Waylon calls your name, please respond to confirm that you are in fact in attendance.
All right, thank you, Ashley, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience as we connect and resolve our technology issues. If you're here, please state that you're present or here. Brenda Berrio.
Present.
Sandy Cox. Taylor Fiddler. Elizabeth Fuller. Tracy Glass.
Present.
Tiffany Grady. Linda Litzinger.
Present.
Vicki Mitchell. Susan Maraska.
Present.
Ramonda Alaloy. Christine Price. DJ Puenta. Jolene Sanders.
Present.
Bess Stalvey.
Present.
Agatha Thibodeau.
Present.
Tara Torres. Nina Zuna.
Present.
Ashley Ford.
Present.
Thank you. Any others that I did not call that's a member of the advisory council? I know we have a guest. I do see a guest. I think it's Dr. Edward O'Neill. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Good morning. I'm Edward O'Neill. I'm the Executive Director of General Supervision and Monitoring in Special Populations at TEA. I'm here as Ramonda Olaloye is no longer with TEA.
Thanks for joining us, Edward. All right.
We have a quorum?
Yes, please state in the minutes that we do have a quorum, and we will proceed accordingly.
So the next order of business is consideration of our July 22nd, 2022 minutes. I hope that each of you had an opportunity to review this, to review our minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the July 22nd, 2022 Advisory Council for Post-Secondary Education for Students with IDD meeting? Thank
This
you.
is Linda Litzinger. I so move.
Can I have a second?
Second, this is Jolene.
Thank you, Jolene. All in favor? Thank you. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? The minutes are approved.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys. So next on our agenda is an overview of our accessibility report. Anyone is Pocket Rise going to join us? Pocket Rise.
Yes, at 11.
At 11:30. Okay. So let me provide a brief overview of our 2022 report. I am very proud of the work of this advisory council, and I think that we created a really awesome product, you guys. And so I just first off want to, begin this sort of overview by thanking each and every one of you for your contributions for the report. I think that we made a ton of really meaningful recommendations and a lot of really good ideas. And I'm really excited to see what we're going to be able to accomplish as far as goals that we set out in the report over this next year or two. And so first off, the report identified 19 key issues. And with the help of all of our wonderful committee chairs, we were able to break these down into topics that are going to hopefully be helpful as we continue our work this year. And I'll get into more of that later. But overall, the 19 key issues that we identified, really a lot of them had to do with data sharing and data collection. We had a lot of mentions regarding need for improved coordination and partnerships. So I'm just going to go through each of the issues here and read them off. I'd be happy to answer any questions, specific questions that you'll have regarding the report. But, the number one issue that we identified was there being a lack of comprehensive transition programs for students with intellectual disabilities. We continue to only have 4 now in the state of Texas, hopefully 5 pretty soon. But looking forward to figuring that out in the next year and a half of how we can improve the number of those. Issue 2 was a lack of funding options for post-secondary education for students with IDD. Issue 3, the use of data shared between the Texas Education Agency and the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. Issue 4 was the state performance plan indicator, which Dr. Vicki Mitchell can speak to in depth. And I do not see her with us today, but she was with a wealth of knowledge on that issue, especially. Issue 5, we have the Texas Workforce Solutions and the vocational rehabilitation and the Disability Service Office coordination on campuses being an issue. Issue 6, we have a lack of institutions of higher education and IDD program outcomes data or transparency about the, what it looks like when students actually complete an IDD program or not. Issue 7, a lack of post-secondary education program standards. Issue 8, a lack of equal access to employment experiences. Issue 9, a lack of coordinating board IDD recruitment survey responses from institutions of higher education, which we will also be talking about later on in this meeting of how to address. Issue 10, a lack of programs and services at institutions of higher education to support students with IDD. Issue 11, lack of partnerships between institutions of higher education and local education agencies. Issue 12, inconvenient timing of institutions of higher education recruitment activities. Issue 13, transportation challenges with accessing institutions of higher education and recruitment activities. Issue 14, among institutions of higher education, there is a lack of time and staff for recruitment among students with IDD. Issue 15, a lack of awareness about post-secondary education programs. Issue 16 is inefficient application processes for admission to programs. Issue 17, foster care students with IDD lack support and coordination to pursue post-secondary education. Issue 18, foster care students with IDD face financial barriers when pursuing post-secondary education. And last but not least is post-secondary education is inaccessible to incarcerated youth and adults with IDD. That's a lot. It was a very dense report. I am now going to stop talking, and I want to hear what y'all's thoughts on this and what just overall feedback about the report that we submitted for last year.
This is Jolene Sanders at CD. Ashley, thanks for coordinating all of us. I know that you put a lot of your personal time into fine-tuning things, and you as well, Waylon. It was a great opportunity working with the committee that I chaired, and I was pleased to see that post-secondary opportunities, at least for foster youth, although not specific necessarily to students with IDD, but there was some legislation that was filed this session, and so I am pleased to at least see more attention to these special populations, as Ashley mentioned, foster youth and youth and adults who are incarcerated. So and we continue. I think Linda was in that committee, and now it's been so long now I don't remember. But I think we also were able to identify. It was hard to just narrow it down to very, because we could have gone on and on and on. But after the report was submitted, or as we were working on it, I know that we identified some other populations as well that we look forward to looking into and making recommendations next time.
Thank you for that, Jolene. I also wanted to just sort of remind the advisory council that I think ideally what we would do this year is focus on the outreach materials and information that can increase awareness of post-secondary education and the opportunities that exist in Texas. And then hopefully we can wrap that up by the end of this year, sort of our, the materials that we're hoping to create, the ideas that we have for outreach, and then beginning next year, we can begin the process of drafting the next report. And so in the meantime of when we're having discussions about the outreach materials and future meetings, I do want to sort of keep a running list of the topics that come up that probably should be identified in our next report, but definitely I just would really like the focus of this year to be those outreach materials, really trying to address sort of issue 15 in the report is a lack of awareness about post-secondary education programs and just post-secondary education in general. Elizabeth, I'm seeing you nod your head. I was wondering if you had anything more to say about that. Not specifically. Okay. Well, I also know that Taylor, I don't see Taylor here with us today, but Taylor had a lot of ideas on specific things that didn't make it into the report because they were very specific web pages and things that could be, that we have improvements for. And so we will be bringing that up again in our next meeting. Linda, I see your hand is raised.
Hi, Hi, this is Linda Litzinger. I think the report is excellent and I'm glad it's on the website. And I don't want to put you on the spot, Edward, being your first meeting. Do you know if TEA shared it with the schools, and was there any push for the schools to share it with parents? Anyone know here? Anyway, I'd like to share it with parents somehow and get into a conversation with them. Offer a way for them to provide us with their ideas and feedback. Thank you.
I think that's a really good idea. I'd also like, later on in this meeting, we're going to talk about membership, but I also think hearing parents' perspective on barriers to access would be very informative and be really helpful as we are developing outreach materials this next year. Any other discussion about the report?
Hi, Ashley. This is Nina Zuna from the Texas Center for Disability Studies. Thank you also for taking this leadership role and all the work on the report. And apologies, I missed a couple of meetings due to some health issues, but it's glad to see all of these 19 goals that were established. And I'm wondering, as we work on this next year, the marketing and the outreach, is there a way to maybe incorporate this outreach to target some of these other goals? Like, even if we can't work on it directly, but like Linda was saying, ensuring the school districts know about it, and TEA and the institutes of higher ed that should be collecting better data. Maybe we can kind of align that a little bit so it still touches on some of those goals, even if we're not working on them directly.
I love that idea. And I'm so glad that you're joining us today, Nina. Thank you for being here with us. Among the goals that are in the report, do any of them, besides the one I've mentioned about the, a lack of awareness, issue 15, are there other issues here that we believe could perhaps be remedied with outreach materials and information that come to mind at first for you guys?
This is Agatha Thibodeau. One of the things that I really noticed not only in our second report, but in our first report, I was part of a group with Sue compiling all of the programs. And as a parent and not having a whole lot of connection to higher education or anything, I was really surprised and disappointed to see that many of the institutions do not have anything on their main webpage. There's no drop-down box on any of the universities or programs that I went and looked for. That the programs are very hidden. Oftentimes, even in a general search for them, Google did not give me anything. I had to have specific links sent to me, and I do think that is a huge barrier and an outreach that the universities and programs could help us with, to highlight the programs more upfront and center, because oftentimes as a parent, if you don't hear about a school through if you don't hear about programs through school or just somehow it is missed, oftentimes you'll just go searching for programs. And if you see a university or a college program or something, you go to their webpage and you start looking for, special education. And I mean, I put in so many search results. I'm a marketing major. I'm actually quite good at finding things. And I was really disappointed to see how hidden many of these programs are. I mean, I could find information on an award that they had received, but I couldn't actually find information on how to get to the program. As we were compiling this list for our very first report, I'm contacting the schools. None of the information is updated. You kind of get the runaround. It would really be helpful if the institutions and the programs themselves made themselves more visible, and not just us trying to get the word out, but just, if they could do something on their part, that would really be helpful. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
This is excuse me, this is Jolene Sanders at CTD. I'll kind of just add to that. I think it's really important, and I think there's kind of a breakdown in communication in terms of the assumption that, okay, well, universities don't have to comply with IDEA, but having families and students understand that there are still supports and accommodations available under 504, and what does that look like, and how do you get your student to transition and be supported and get those accommodations at a college or university. So I think there's still a lot of kind of connecting those 2 dots as well, so that so that students are able to access the opportunities.
And I agree with you, Agatha, about the hiddenness of all of these programs. One issue that we ran into, even for our program, it's not a CTP, right? So it's not fully recognized by the university and going through the financial aid program. So I would think those programs probably would have a greater ability to put it on their website, since it is, recognized by the university. But the other post-secondary programs that are not, like ours, we cannot, put it directly on the UT website, but we have our own, center website because we're a USED, right? So folks find us that way. But we also have a marketing communications outreach person that's good at Google Analytics and trying to get the website, toward the top. So that could be one recommendation for the other post-secondary programs that are not officially recognized by the university, to kind of improve their wording to help parents and others find the programs better.
I just have a quick question. So can you explain to me, so there is a program at particular universities, but they're not recognized by the universities. How does that work?
So the CTP, the Comprehensive Transition program, is an application through the Department of Ed, and you have to work with the financial aid office at the university to get it recognized as a program that's available for financial aid. And the university then officially recognizes it. You provide the program description, and then it's, considered part of the university. Other programs that are not CTPs are just post-secondary programs that, probably partnering with other people at the university like we do. We have our students audit classes. We're a part, they stay at the dorms, but we're not an official CTP recognized program. Or we're not a TIPSID either. So that's another designation for programs that receive the TIPSID funding.
I see that you have your hand raised.
Hi, this is Jolene. Just for clarification for anybody who may be watching, can you explain the acronyms?
It's a transition program for students with intellectual disabilities, is the TIPSID, and it's through a grant, a federal application. And the CTP is a comprehensive transition program. And I can drop the links in the chat. That way it's part of official record, and then folks can actually read the actual details on it. So I'll be doing that shortly.
Thank you, Nina. Sue?
Oh, okay. Yes, hi. Oh, I didn't know who you mentioned. Is it my turn?
see that your hand is raised.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure it was my turn. Sue Moraska, Houston Community College, Vast Academy. Now that we're having this conversation and it's one of the recommendations, I've already shared all of these recommendations with our administration at Houston Community College to see if there's anything that we can start working on now that we're not already doing, but things that we can do a better job at. And I know that we have a wonderful HCC communications department that I think if they were sitting in this room right now, they probably have several ideas of how we could make this happen. So I'm going to go back and try to see, because in the past, they have, like if you know our program, you know the name of the program. This is what Agatha was talking about. If you know, okay, I went on social media, I saw, oh, what is this program at HCC? Vast. Oh, Vast. Okay, then you can find it. But if somebody knows nothing about us, they didn't go to the tips. I mean, if they didn't go to Think College to see that we're one of the tipsids, or we were one of the first tipsids, they didn't see us on all those other things. They're just going to the college in general. And you look up things like, different, usually colleges and universities will have departments, and they will have, instructional departments or student services. And so if someone has a disability, they're going to click on things like ADA, students with disabilities. If they want to know about services, if they want to know about programs, they should be able to take any program out of college and just need accommodations. But if you're looking at something like a special program serving students with IDD, that's not something in a drop-down menu at a college or university. But like if you go to our page, you will see, if you click on different departments, you will see Vast. We're in several different areas. But if someone doesn't know what Vast is and they don't click on it, they're not going to know, because it's not earmarked or coded or whatever you want to call it to be that for students with intellectual or developmental disabilities. So I guess we need to find out what is it that we need, because I think a lot of these universities probably will do. We just have to figure out what that is going to look like to make it easier for, because I know right now with our QEP that we have at our college, quality enhancement program and personalized learning pathways they're doing for all students now at HCC. We are actually even included in student services. So student services are making these little videos for every area of student service. So when people click on that student service, they hear about it, and they've even included us, even though we're under instruction. So I think it depends on where the program falls to, how you're finding the program. I mean, if you go to continuing ed and you scroll down and, you'll find us that way. If you're going under, now we're under college readiness, you'll find us that way. If you hear about us on somewhere, the name, you can find us. So I think we have to figure out what Agatha and we talked about in our, 2 years ago already. What is it that we need? I'm not a technology HCC, I'm not a communication expert or those folks that know how to do that to relate to searches, but there has to be something, when ADA came out, there's definitely, if you punch in ADA at any college, you're going to see, the services, reasonable accommodations, ability services, whatever you call it at your institution. But if we have colleges and universities that have this special type of program that's serving students with IDD, then there needs to be something that says, or if you want to call it even CTP, and mention what a CTP is. But I think, I guess I'm just trying to figure out what it is that I'm going to bring it up to our communications and see what they suggest. But I think we want to make it easier. So when someone goes to a college or university, they have that. Now, if there's an article, like a lot of times when there's, like she said, you win an award, you were featured in the Chronicle or some media, there might be something right away when you go to that website of that college and you'll see that program highlighted because there was an article written about that program or there was something and it's there. But just in a normal search, to go into the college, how would you know there is a program there? Exactly what Agatha is saying. What is it as our group? What should we I don't know what it is. Maybe we need to tell them what it is we want it to be. Do we want it to be programs for students with IDD as a special tab or something? If you have that type of program, I mean, what is it that we want to do to make it more visible? Because they've been listening to me for years and they made us more visible in our HCC, but not visible in the way that Agatha's talking about. We're now, when you go in there and you do a drop-down menu in departments, VAST is there. We're not embedded somewhere. But if you don't know what VAST is, how are you going to know, right? So I guess we as a group maybe need to come up with what is it, the language, or what is the terminology that we think should be consistent for those colleges and universities in Texas that have one of these programs, so that way they can have something there on the front page when you go to that college. That's all. I don't know what that could be, but.
Well, and during this discussion, I am being reminded of the inventory of programs and services that the coordinating board is responsible for maintaining. And in this inventory of IDD programs and services, it includes specific URLs or web addresses to direct those searching for those programs to that specific web page. So Agatha, I think that, a thought that comes to mind for me is, instead of maybe us trying to work individually with a bunch of different programs and universities, it may be that we need to revisit the inventory of IDD programs and services webpage that the coordinating board maintains, and ensure that the URLs are correct and that they're really, directing folks to the exact information that they need. Because in theory, every institution of higher education in Texas that offers a program of service for people with IDD should be listed within that inventory. And I will just say that I'm sitting here and I just did a search for this on the coordinating board's website, and I can't find it. I did a search for IDD. I did a search for inventory, and I even did a Google search for IDD inventory program services THECB, and nothing came up in that Google search. And so as far as things that I feel like this advisory council really has, maybe the power to influence rather quickly, I could see that being, a call to order. And then again, Brenda, I see you had your hand raised. Please mention Think College.
Hi. Hi, Ashley. This is Brenda Barrio with the University of North Texas and UNT Elevar. I think, yes, Think College is a great resource for anybody to look at colleges, not just here in Texas, but across states as well. I think that it would also be very helpful if TEA has something on their website for transition, within their transition, whether it's services or anything else, not just for families and students, but then also for educators, because we know that a lot of those goals, especially the post-secondary goals, should start early on in K-12. And students should start exploring all of those things. We've been trying to do that from our end at Elevar with specific partners, whether it's region centers or school districts. But I think having it centralized within the state, within TEA, would be very helpful. So if parents or educators or even administrators want to reach out and see what new programs are available, they can do so from early on.
Great recommendation. Leland, should I go ahead and just do the legislative update, you think, now?
Yeah, once they get on
And then
and
we'll
ready,
wait for them to join.
we'll go from there.
Okay.
And I'll just add that there's with the new website, there has been some things rearranged within our website. So things are definitely can be harder to find, but I'll post a link in here for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I know, like, even on our advisory council's webpage, it didn't have
Yeah,
this upcoming meeting listed or
it's all
anything
being
either.
revamped.
Great. So I'm going to go ahead and move along to agenda item number 7, just so we can keep things moving, which is legislative updates. As you guys know, with my role at the ARC of Texas, I am intimately engaged in legislative advocacy work, and wanted to just explain a few of the bills that I was able to work on during legislative session that really are a direct result of the recommendations that have been made by this advisory council to the legislator. And so the first bill that I want to highlight for you guys is House Bill 5146 by Representative Rainey of Aggie Land, as I like to say. So what House Bill 5146 set out to do was establish the Building Better Futures program. What the Building Better Futures program was supposed to do is to expand and enhance comprehensive transition programs within the state of Texas. We were hoping to essentially get funds to support the expansion or the creation of additional comprehensive transition programs within the state, or CTPs. This bill was voted unanimously out of the House Higher Education Committee, and it was sent to the full House, and it was voted unanimously within the Texas House of Representatives. Then it made it over to the Texas Senate, and it was referred to the Texas Higher Education Subcommittee. And there it died. Time ran out for it to get a committee hearing to live on. And then another bill is House Bill 5148, again by Representative Rainey. What this bill set out to do was establish the Texas Scholarship Program for students with disabilities. This was going to be a special program because it was acknowledging that students with disabilities may not qualify for traditional scholarship opportunities based on their need for certain accommodations, like a lighter course load, for example. Which other scholarships typically require a full course load. And so the Texas Scholarship Program for Students with Disabilities had the exact same fate as 5146, and that it was voted unanimously out of the House Higher Education Committee, voted unanimously ayes on the within the Texas House of Representatives, and then was sent over to the Texas Senate, where it met its end. And so I do want to just say that Representative Rainey's office is really looking forward to filing both of these bills again during the 89th session. I am keeping a close watch on any subsequent special sessions that our governor may call, and to see if there is sort of any wiggle room for additional recommendations that this advisory council has made to be included in anything that's passed between all of these special sessions, which are expected. And so in the meantime, I think that it's a great time for those who care about these bills and would like to see them passed in the future to get a game plan in order and figure out what we can do to be successful next session. I do want to note that Senator Menendez carried these bills in the Senate. Senator Menendez is the senator of the Tu Casa program, which will be providing a presentation later during our meeting. And then the last bill that I wanted to just touch on was House Bill 4490. This was authored by Representative Josie Garcia out of San Antonio. And what this bill was, what we were aiming to do was to extend Hazelwood exemptions. And so this is, the benefits that veterans get from their service in Texas. It's a very Texas specific program, the Hazelwood program. It essentially exempts the tuition and fees of students who can use their parents' Hazelwood. And so we had heard that, and Brenda can expand on this, especially I believe, that students with intellectual disabilities who were dependents of veterans who were eligible for the Hazelwood were being unable to apply Hazelwood exemptions towards tuition and fees associated with a comprehensive transition program. And throughout the course of, the bill was filed, and throughout the course, we had meetings with the Veterans Commission to discuss the issue more in depth. And we discovered that the bill was not workable at this point because so many comprehensive transition programs are not formula funded. There would be essentially nothing for the university to exempt using Hazelwood. And so I definitely, in the interim, just me as an individual, I am going to dig into this issue further, because I do think that we have a responsibility to ensure that dependents of veterans can use their parents' benefits to the full extent possible. And they should have a right to, post-secondary education, even if the benefits associated with that, even if, they have an intellectual disability. And so I was excited to see for that. And I definitely think, again, Representative Garcia from San Antonio has an interest in working on that in the interim and figuring out a way to ensure that, veterans can extend these benefits to their children with intellectual disabilities.
And I think the one caveat, this is Nina from Texas Center for Disability Studies, you made about the programs needing to be a CTP, and then earlier in the presentation meeting, you were saying there's only 4 and maybe 5 that have that designation. So that's a push then for these other programs to get that, if it's going to require that in the bills in order for these students to apply for scholarships or, any type of additional funding. Unless we can get the bill language to apply to, post-secondary programs in general.
Yes.
Actually, this is Linda Litzinger. I would like to work with you on getting a senator who's been in the military to maybe become involved with us with this too.
That would be fantastic.
Okay, thank you.
Representative Josie Garcia, for those of you who don't know, she is a veteran, and she's also a mom of 2 children with IDD. And so this piece of legislation was right up her alley, and she is extremely enthusiastic about figuring this out.
Thank you. And I'm thinking of Senator Birdwell.
Excellent. Yes.
Thank you.
So that wraps up my legislative update. Now I would like to turn it over to Dr. Tamara Chetron.
Yeah, she's the Bopet Rice. They're not able to do it, so we got Veronica.
So we have
to
go with this. Excellent. So we have a presentation today from Texas A&M University at San Antonio. They are Texas's newest approved comprehensive transition program. Yay! Based in San Antonio. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from Veronica about, what that process has been like. And really, you guys, as we're listening to her give an overview of this, I would like for us to just listen in on, policy and outreach things that come up that this advisory council could, perhaps dig into. Veronica.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. We are in the middle of a summer camp. It's been a very long week. So I have a very short window to present to you guys as we're wrapping up this afternoon, the students checking out of their dorms and stuff. So thank you so much for having me. I think I'm able to share my screen. Yeah, okay. Everything look okay?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. All right. So we are the newest in South Texas. Have the CTP certification happened last October, I believe. So we're it's like a year and a half ago, a little over a year and a half. So we're really excited about that. TUCASA does stand for Transition University for Career Advancement and Successful Adulthood. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Veronica Khaled. I'm the director of the program. There's 3 that are staffed that help this program run on the campus, which are Dominic, our coordinator, and Verona Labrador is our
Hey,
admin
Veronica,
support
can you hear me?
specialist. Yes.
I just wanted to let you know that we're seeing sort of the presenter's view rather.
Oh, okay.
than the audience.
Okay. Let me,
Try to expand it.
it looks expanded on my end.
Okay.
Display. Let me see. What about that way?
Nothing.
There we
Yeah,
go.
that's better.
That's great. Thank
That's
you.
better?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. All right, so the co-PIs are the PIs on that wrote the grant are Dr. Maria Davis, Dr. Eric Lopez, and Dr. Gavin Watts. TUCASA stands for Transition University for Career Advancement and Successful Adulthood here. And I do have a video that I like to share because we worked hard to get this going. So let me show the video first, if it lets me, if it cooperates with me here. It's not going to cooperate with me. Can you see the video?
Not at the moment.
No, okay, so let me new share.
There it is.
What inspired us to write up the grant for the TUCASA program here at Texas A&M University San Antonio was to give back to the community, where students with an intellectual disability could actually attend a university and also develop independent living skills, as well as develop career experiences and be career ready upon completion of our program. Our program focuses on the individual student. We're very person-centered. So when we focus on the actual individual and what their strengths are, we're able to build that and see where we can place them in internships, in jobs, independent living, and in their social skills. So it's all about the individual person and building their strength and their confidence. Some of the success that I've seen with the students throughout the program kind of varies. You know, students are different. Some of them were scared to get up and speak, and now after their first semester, they're up there giving presentations. Other students, you know, they've graduated, they're on to finding jobs, doing volunteer work. They have shown so much progress throughout the program. The ones that have graduated are doing things that they never thought they could do, or you know, their family thought that they would never do, and it's amazing to see them move on. And even the students in the program now are really excited, and they look up to the ones that have graduated, and they see that, you know, they're living as independently as possible, and they know that they can do that now. TUCASA helps students with their independence. We want to make sure that everything they do is for themselves. We have these students have boot camp where they live by themselves, cook by themselves. They have to make sure they do their routines by themselves. So we're helping them with their independence just to make sure that they're ready for what comes after. And we're hoping to inspire them to continue on their education, knowing what services that each university or college might have for them. The future is very positive for TUCASA. We are working on the sustainability of the program, community partnerships and donations. We are constantly going out to the community in the city to let the population know that there are programs out there for them. And we are looking forward to all future TUCASA students. So that is our commercial, our little video, and struggling here. Oh, it's over here.
So like the video said, our mission is to literally just offer a fully inclusive and immersive experience for young adults with disabilities here on campus.
Hey, Veronica, can you change your display settings?
It keeps doing it, right? I don't know.
You-
There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. And I keep getting in the way of myself here too. All right. So our program specifically is 18 months. Post-secondary opportunities, they go to classes like every other college student here on campus and receive all the supports and services that the university does offer. It is, like the video says, we are very person-centered. We partner with Bexar County, and they do get a meaningful credential that is currently in the process of being recognized by the university. And we are one of 3 CTP programs in the state of Texas. So the program qualifications are the students must be between 18 to 26 years old, must have a high school diploma, GED, they must hold their own guardianship and not have any power of attorney over their education experience. They must be able to provide their latest documentation of their intellectual disability, their IEP, physician paperwork, etc. And they must be at least between a 4th and 5th grade reading level. Those are the requirements for the actual program. Everybody here, I believe, knows what CTP program is. So I'll skip this slide here. But our program runs approximately under $7,000 for the 18 months. If they're just going to do the program. If they want to live in housing, we do have 2 students that live in housing, then they can make that choice to actually live on campus as well. And that runs around $3,500 a semester. Our students do qualify for grants, specific scholarship, foster care waivers. We have a student this semester that is on this cohort that is also on a foster care. And we always have the students apply for FAFSA. Right now in our cohort, 4 out of the 6, I believe, are through the Pell Grant. So FAFSA is very important for them to fill out. Our cohorts, because of when the grant was awarded, it was awarded October of 2021. No, I'm lying, 2020. Our cohorts start in the spring. So cohorts start in the spring and they graduate the following spring. They take 6 hours a semester, and the way that the grant was written is the way that the courses are taken. So the spring semester, when they start here, is they take the speech class, which of course every freshman takes, and then the first year seminar course, which is something within the TAMU systems where they learn how to be a college student, how to study financial literacy, time management. It's a required course. They learn a lot within that course in itself. Then when they return for their fall semester, they take their practicum course where they actually start their internships about 4 weeks into the semester. We start off with them they must have at least 10 hours or more a week in their internship site. And then Dom and I go out and we monitor their progress. And they also take a kinesiology course, which is usually about health and wellness. When they return back the spring semester, they continue with their internship and they get to choose an elective of their choice. And then, like I mentioned at the beginning, they also do a summer boot camp, which is ending today, where they're required to live in the dorms for that week. And we work on, STEM. They learn about science, technology, mathematics, social emotional learning, like how to cope with your emotions, community service. They volunteered yesterday at a children's museum, which helped them learn on their social skills too, like how to work with younger children as well. So every year it's a little different, and I'll show you the schedule for that. Where we do individualized learning plan at the beginning and end of every single semester. We also do practice UDL here. We train twice a year, one spring, once every spring, once every fall for UDL. And we do have a lot of workshops from our May Center here. Region 20 comes in. Right now we have a Care Warriors here working on social emotional learning as well. And then of course the tutoring and mentorship that comes along with the program. Starting this fall, we are also going to have pre-employment transition services, which are industry recognized, right? They're able to put these badges on their LinkedIn accounts, on their resumes, to show that they have successfully completed these certain skills. General office, medical emergency services, and retail are the ones that we currently purchase, and I'm in the process of purchasing more as well. Another thing that I'm very, very adamant with here, because everybody knows when you transition from secondary to post-secondary education, it is now on the student to be able to go to the DSS office and ask for the services that they need. And I work very closely with the DSS office, and they come and present to the students to let them know of the services that they offer and how to sign up for them. And usually about 99% of our students do get DSS services. So this is Mandy. She's one of our newest graduates. We really focus. Of course, we do assessment skills on the individual student to see like what their strengths are, right? What are they good at doing? And then we work with the student to see what is something that they would like to do based off of what their strengths are. And Mandy this year was very specific on wanting to work in an office and learn how to answer phones and do meetings and file. So we were able to get her internship at Los Colonias and Sam Ministries. So that was really good for her. She did it 2 semesters in a row, actually, and she loved it. And of course, we, like I mentioned earlier, we do job shadowing. We help them job search, how to network. What does it take to be in that career? What does it mean? What type of skill set do I need? What is it going to look like? And then we also have a new program called Path for Explore, where they're able to interview in real time through Zoom of what that looks like in the day of the life of, just throwing it out there, like a scientist or biologist. And they're able to talk to that person in real time about what that is, what it looks like, and what the skills were. Brandon is one of our newest graduates as well. He really wanted to work in retail and customer service. So he actually did 2 semesters at the Duceum. I'm not gonna show this. It's just him messing around with some stuff. So in their independent living, like I mentioned earlier, we do have 2 students that are living on campus, and just in these short 16 weeks that they started the semester, the growth and their confidence of when they first started, they were super intimidated and shy, and now they'll just, they're not scared to self-advocate and go ask for help, or trying to figure out, hey, what's going on campus. So they've grown a lot in these past 16 weeks. Some of our students drive. Majority of them do via trans. And of course, there's Uber, Lyft, taxi. But because of where Texas A&M San Antonio is located, there's not bus services out here, but Via Link is free to students, where they're able to download the app on their phone, and within a certain map area within the university, they're able to go to the mall, go eat dinner, go to certain appointments if they're in that area. So that's one thing that we do, show the students and train them on. And we do it a few times during the semester. And then once they feel confident, they go off on their own and do their own thing. So that's a really cool thing about A&M. Part of the Tu Casa program is that we have a social student club called the Amigas Club. And it's basically just a peer support program, our social club, where the students are able to talk about inclusion and just be part of the campus and raise awareness about disabilities. And we have been growing significantly since we're barely at a year where our club has been approved. So the students really like this. They meet twice a month on Wednesdays. And it's like recruitment events here. So they learn a lot, and they do 2 CASA tips on YouTube for future students. Boot camp is what's happening right now. It's 4 to 5 nights in campus dorms. We focus on independent living, cooking skills, community involvement, STEM, team building, and of course, classroom instruction. They don't get away from that. And I just kind of put a little spreadsheet here on what the week looks like. It's go, 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 go. Yesterday was literally an 11-hour day from the time they woke up from instruction time to the time we got back on campus. So yeah, they're pretty busy. By the time today ends, they're ready to go home to their own beds. Yeah, day in the life, wake up call, classroom experience, off-campus activity, lunch, team building, return to campus, social skills, personal team time, and lights out. What I'm learning, I'm barely on a year and 5 months here at the campus with this program. And what I'm learning is the students really enjoy the cooking piece. They're really scared at the beginning, and then this young man cooked himself a steak and he did an amazing job, first time ever. He was super proud of himself. Definitely builds confidence. So we are fully staffed. Our first graduation was last year. Our second cohort literally graduated like 2 weeks ago. Cohort 3 started this semester, and we are currently recruiting for cohort 4. We are doing our first round of interviews next week, as a matter of fact. And I'm in the process of trying to do like a greenhouse project with Tower Gardens that we have purchased, that we're working on literally planning this summer. So at the end of the 18 months, they get an inclusive and meaningful credential, the University and Career Experience Certificate. And like I mentioned earlier, it is in the process of being recognized by the university. Here are the graduates that literally just graduated like 2 weeks ago. We had 3. This cohort, we have 6. This is just information that I give to the parents when I do open houses and orientations about, the difference between secondary and PSC programs and what their expectations should look like. We all have the resources from Think College, and I focus on like the personal freedom, the teacher contact, what they're allowed to do, legal protection, special ed classes, accommodations, and what the parents' role is when their student is in a PSC program, and just suggestions on post-secondary life strategies. And then here's our application process. When we know that there's a group of people that are interested and they're struggling with how to get the application in, we'll open up labs here and we walk everybody through the process. So it's very hands-on with us. And of course, we'd love for you to follow us on social media. Linda, I see that your hand is raised. This is now my Q&A session. So do you want to go first?
Okay, thank you very much. This is Linda Litzinger.
Yes.
And I'm with Texas Parent to Parent, and we serve all types of disabilities. So my question is this: if somebody needs an attendant, their attendant to come in the middle of the day and help, for example, help them in the bathroom, does that preclude you from being in the program? Which, by the way, is a very wonderful program.
Thank you. No, ma'am. We actually have a student that has her caretaker with her all day, actually. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. And my other question is, I noticed a term on there that I just wanted to ask about. What is Note-Taking Express? I think that's what I read.
Oh, yeah. So through the DSS office, they have Note-Taking Express, and they basically, they could put it on their cell phones or their iPads, and they record the professor, right? Instead of normal, like if somebody needs notes, they record the professor, they upload the recording, and by the next day they have the notes.
Thank you.
Mhm. You're welcome.
Love your program.
Thank you so much. Any other questions?
Veronica, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Can you expand on what it means to have the university recognize your degree?
It's a certificate. And so what we're noticing, what we're trying to do is get it recognized by the university so that it can be in the course catalog, so that when employers are able, so when employers get their transcripts, they'll see that it's a university recognized certificate. Right now, it is not. We're hoping by the end of fall it will be. The PIs are currently working on that, but it lets employers know that it is recognized by university, just like a degree or diploma.
So when they receive a certificate, does the certificate say a certificate from Texas A&M University?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, it does.
I had a question. This is Agatha Thibodeau. You had mentioned, well, and I guess this piggybacks a little bit of what Ashley was saying, a meaningful credential. So can you expand a little bit on that? And then also, I'm kind of curious as to what types of jobs are the graduates able to get through the program, and what do you partner with companies?
Yes, because back to the credential, because it's a certificate, we're really trying to focus on it being recognized by the university so that it'll be, for lack of a better term, more respected and looked at as like, okay, it's, yes, the certificate, they leave with the certificate and it says Texas A&M San Antonio, the university career, and it's signed by the dean. It's, you know, it's an official certificate, but to be put in a catalog is a completely different aspect, right? When somebody looks at transcripts, you're like, oh, this person has so many hours in this, right? So that will make it more meaningful in that aspect of them seeing that it's recognized and in the catalog. I hope that makes sense. But
So
one of the things one of the things that we're trying to also push is those courses that are industry recognized. That'll also be added onto that as well. And that actually starts this fall. And those are worldwide recognized certifications as well.
Okay, so what are the main categories of the certificates that they're getting? I guess I'm just kind of missing that aspect.
So the 18-month program, they leave with a university career and experience certificate. That certificate is basically saying that this student was able to successfully complete all 18 hours of course curriculum, right? While being able to work or intern and be a successful student on the campus, right? That's what that certificate is saying, that they were able to, amongst with their peers, successfully complete this program, because it is not a degree seeking program. It's a certificate program. So that's what that certificate is saying, right? And then the pre-ETS is basic. We're purchasing those pre-ETS programs because they are industry recognized. Right now we have medical, retail, and food services, and I'm going to order some more this summer. And those, they have to go through certain modules, like the food service, they have to do the whole, like, you know, germs, I forget the technical term for that, but and then the medical, they're going to do CPR. I'm sorry.
Food handlers permit.
Food handlers, yeah. So there's all different kinds, and we're just going to get a whole bank of them. And whatever the students' strengths and interests are, those are the ones that they're going to work on. So they can leave with more than one, right? And that's something, it's a badge. It's like a badge of honor, recognition, where they're able to go to the employer and apply and be like, look, I'm certified in this certain area because I've successfully completed that as well. Does that answer your question?
So what types of jobs are the graduates getting?
So the cohort that just graduated, Brandon, which was he did 2 semesters at the museum and he just got hired at the museum. And then Mandy is at HEB, and Freddie, he did 2 internships at he's very interested in kinesiology, like a PT. So he did 2 semesters at a physical therapy office, and he's actually going to be working at a hospital in a PT office.
Okay, I'm just kind of trying to get an idea of what the students come out with. So when you say food service, is it like restaurant? I mean, like, is it a fast food
It can be
type
fast
certificate, or
It is-
I guess I'm just trying to kind of gauge like what level of what they're able to get when they come out of the programs, you know,
So we
for
work
what they're.
specifically with the skills. So I can tell you right now that all of the students that I've had, none of them have been interested in the food industry. We have one right now that is currently interested in the food industry. We've had some that are, you know, interested in customer service and retail. So when I say that TUCASA is very focused on the individual student, we really try to tailor that career and that certification to what they really want to do with their lives. Because we don't want to be a one-stop shop program where we're like, everybody's going to do food service and this is what I'm going to train you in. That's not what we're about. We're about focusing on them and what they're going to be happy with and what they're going to be successful in. So for me to say that I'm specifically going to do food service, I can't say, yes, that's what we're going to do. But I get that if I get somebody in here and they're going to be like, you know what, I really want to be a computer repair person, then I'm going to look at a program that's going to get that person certified in that to get them a career in that area. I hope that makes sense. So
It does. And
Okay.
and I wasn't saying that you guys are trying to pump out food service workers by any means, but
Yeah.
I'm just, as a parent, I'm trying to understand what the program offers, and I'm, you know, just in an outcome based, you know, basis, because so it sounds like your program is very individualized, that the kids that come in or the students that come in have an idea of what they want to do, and then you tailor your program. Even if it's not something that you have done, you try and tailor what they need.
Exactly.
And find those resources.
That's exactly what we do. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
I have another question. Can the hours earned be applied towards a degree later?
No, so the classes that they take here are audit, and no, the answer is no.
So even the speech and kinesiology.
Right.
Okay.
That's something that we have thought about, but it hasn't come to fruition yet. But the way the program was built, the way the grant was written, is that it's audit based.
Great, thank you.
Yes, Miss Brenda.
Hi, very good to see you, Veronica. Always love our partners at Texas A&M TUCASA. But just to add to your answer, because of the largest barrier, which is students with IDD cannot traditionally apply to college like any other traditional student. That is the biggest barrier of why all of these programs, if not most of these programs, are non-degree seeking programs. So I want to make sure that that's on record, that it is not because we are not trying to make these programs degree seeking. It is because of the current admission structure within the board at the state level.
Thank you, Brenda.
Well, Veronica, I just want to say thank you so much for your presentation, and I am very excited that TUCASA has received its approval to be a comprehensive transition program in the state, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how many students are, you know, successful as a result of your efforts and the efforts at Texas A&M University. So I really appreciate you joining us for this meeting today and taking the time out of your very busy schedule with all the boot camps and everything else. Because I think that there are during session, I received so many questions about sort of like the day-to-day, how are CTPs, like, how do they actually function and how many students are there and how much do they cost and all of that stuff. And so actually hearing from you those details, I think will definitely improve sort of our outreach efforts and the overall awareness efforts of programs like TUCASA around the state. So I really appreciate you, Veronica.
Thank you. I saw somebody, how can we contact? I just put my email in there. I also wanted to let you know that we're in the, we met with the Texas Workforce Commissions in regards to our VR services. And we're in the process of trying to get accredited by them as well to help with some tuition and fees for students that are in those services as well. So we're hoping to hear something by November, December to start in the spring. So keeping our fingers crossed with that. Somebody else had raised their hand, but I missed it. I'm sorry.
Sue, do you have your hand raised?
Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. Yes.
All right. I just wanted to reiterate that, we started 33 years ago, of course, and as you know, at Houston Community College, and there's a huge movement now nationwide, as we know, even globally, to have more of these types of programs. And most of the newer programs are starting off, full inclusion or a small cohort. Maybe they're not going to be able to be institutionally recognized right away. They will be. I just wanted to mention to everyone here that even if a program is not, even if the student is auditing, even though ours is not, but even though, they're auditing, even if a student is not getting college credit per se, even if it's a meaningful credential.
Yes.
The importance of having these programs cannot be understated, because these students are coming and they're having this opportunity to be in college like any college student. And they are going on, and you will find your students, they're not all going to just end with your program. They are going to go on. And the thing that's exciting for me through all these years now is to see how many of our students have gotten bachelor's degrees, associate degrees. I've actually got bachelor's degrees now that have come through our programs. And that would not have happened if we didn't have these programs to start with. So even if the program is not considered full inclusion, which yours is, a lot of people still look at our program as not full inclusion, but having that transition, that's why we call it comprehensive transition program. This is a transition. Not all students are going to choose to go on. That's like any college student. Some are going to finish this meaningful credential and get a job. Some are going to come back later and decide, it's a self-determination that these students are getting. I want to stress that, because they would not have that if it wasn't for having, these programs to start with. So not everything has to be full college credit right away. You have to see that there's the benefit to the meaningful credential as well.
It's very beneficial. And when you're able to be on this side, right, and being able to see the growth, it is so beautiful. It is beautiful. I didn't share this with y'all. I'm coming from secondary education, special ed, and I chose to come to this side. And it's really amazing to see just a transition from from leading the ARDs and doing all the paperwork and telling the parents that they should do this and do that, and to being on this side and being able to see the student actually make that choice on their own and see the growth on this side, and also seeing the parents, letting go a little bit and letting their child, wings open up a little bit. It's a beautiful thing to witness. And it's like I tell everybody during, our open houses, maybe the program isn't for you, right? And that's okay. But it's also important to know that there's programs out there for students that are wanting to do something. And they want to, like Sarah was saying, it's kind of like a precursor of, can I do it? Can I handle it? Am I able to move on from here? And it's just a beautiful thing. It's definitely a blessing on my end to be able to be where I'm at. So thank y'all very much for having me.
Veronica, I think I see Tracy with her hand up. If you
I'm
can-
sorry, Tracy, go ahead.
That's okay. It's a question for you, and really, I guess, actually for all of you. And I just became aware of it. Do you have any plans to participate? There's a new nonprofit called Inclusive Higher Education Accreditation Council. They've developed an accreditation council for post-secondary training programs. Have y'all heard of that? Do you have any plans to participate in that? It's still fairly new in its pilot stage, I think, from what I'm reading. What are your thoughts about that?
Can you tell me the name of that again?
It's a nonprofit called Inclusive Higher Education Accreditation Council. And what they're doing is, because there are now apparently over 300 post-secondary training programs, and people are having a hard time trying to figure out which one is the best one to meet their needs, which ones, are worth their weight, and which ones are not worth their time. I think this, from what I'm gathering, this was formed and universities and colleges can participate in this. It's an accreditation where you have to, it's quite involved, it looks like. But you get, whenever you're finished, you get an accreditation for, to help current, students, families in selecting the post-secondary training program that's right for them. And we're kind of just now exploring it and waiting to, see how this first group does. It says that they conducted their first site visit last month in Western Carolina University's University Participant Program. And so I think it's still in its pilot stages from what I'm seeing. And it may take a little while, but it's something that we're considering. I didn't know if any of you with post-secondary training programs are looking at that also.
We at Houston Community College are also exploring that. We've been knowing about it for a while. We didn't know when it was going to actually happen. And now that we see they're piloting it, it actually was able to get the attention of some of our higher level administrators. And now we're looking at it seriously. I don't know, if we do it, I'll let you know, but I think that's something we definitely want to do and we want to pursue. But it is still fairly new from what I can see. But this is something that's been going on for years. It's finally happening. There have been people that have been working on this I was involved in working on it from the very beginning when Think College was first created. We've been talking about this. So I'm glad, it's so exciting to see that it's finally happening. But I think that once that happens, that is going to be a way for more programs to have that and have more consistency as well because of those standards and benchmarks and everything.
And I'm really looking forward to it being useful for parents and students who are trying to make decisions.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank y'all for your input on that.
Oh, should we wrap up and go to the next agenda item?
We can. I just want to tell Veronica again, thanks for joining us and sharing your program with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Stay in touch.
Okay.
Absolutely. You guys have my email.
I'll go on to the recruitment survey.
Yeah.
So next agenda item is talking about the IDD recruitment survey that the coordinating board is required to complete. We have discussed the recruitment survey before in terms of, so let me start over. The recruitment survey is supposed to be capturing efforts of post-secondary education institutions in recruiting students with IDD and sort of surveying them on what that recruitment effort looks like and if they have anything to suggest as to, how to improve the recruitment. And so I think that when we have discussed the recruitment survey in previous meetings, we identified some of shortcomings and proposed some ways to potentially improve that. Waylon, when is the recruitment survey supposed to be completed for this year?
we try to get it completed by August 1.
August 1.
But we have some flexibility over the summer to when we started and stop
Okay.
it.
So,
So depending on the suggestions of the recommended changes, they may have to go through an approval process. So it may be unlikely that any of these things may get implemented at this stage right now, but we can definitely start the process to start getting the approval for next year if it's something that needs additional approval.
and the recruitment survey is sent out every odd year.
It's sent out every year.
It's every year.
It's every year. The report is submitted every
even year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. So, my suggestion is that we establish a work group to look at the IDD recruitment survey and suggest some potential revisions for that. And that is just based on sort of my dislike for wordsmithing in a group setting, especially via Zoom online. But I am open to ideas. I think that we have some very meaningful revisions to this survey to make it capture data that's actually going to be useful in helping us determine, best practices as far as recruitment goes and other aspects. And so would like y'all's feedback on this idea of sort of creating and establishing a work group to look at this survey and suggest revisions within the next month and a half, and then us bringing those, recommended revisions before an entire council to get feedback. Great. So who's going to be on the work group? You, Linda, hey. And did I miss anyone else? And like always, we'll be sending out an email with this, and just in case some of our members couldn't be with us today, and so they have an opportunity to volunteer for the work group as well. It's not a very long survey, but I do think that it could be a lot more meaningful. So thank you, Linda. Thank you, Sue, for volunteering for the work group. I'll be in communication with both of you. So next up on the agenda is a discussion about our membership. Waylon, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you. Just an update. You kind of heard earlier about our membership. Sandy Cox is no longer with Region 10 or with us. And Ramonda from TEA is also no longer with us. We hate to see them go. So at the same time, they're still listed as official members. And because of that, sometimes that impacts us having quorum and those sort of things. So it's important. So when individuals do leave their position, that we get it updated and approved for the board. That way our numbers are not affected for quorum, especially when we have a small group meeting like today as such, where we barely making quorum. So the other thing is, if last year we had discussions about trying to get other individuals involved and to join the council, as far as other students, other parents, and other individuals to kind of just round out our group. So if there's anyone that has additional students or parents that they're aware of, other individuals within the IDD community, whether if it's organizations, ISD, whatever it is, if you have any recommendations, please send them to myself.
We are really needing a high school counselor.
Yeah, so if you know anyone, maybe ping them and just say, hey, would you be interested in serving on this committee? If they are, send them my information, or let me know, or me or Ashley can reach out and just trying to get them scheduled for the onboarding process. So I try to go off of the when I send the meeting invitations to see who accepts, to see like are we gonna make quorum. So I'll start reaching out directly to say, hey, will you be here, and those sort of things. And luckily, I think we were just on the cusp of making quorum today, but we just don't want to be in that position moving forward to stop the work, because we don't meet frequently, but when we do, it's beneficial and important. So just think about that. And if there's anyone else that think they may be transitioning soon, please give us a heads up. That way we can try to schedule it, and so it aligns with our meetings and getting those recommendations for approval at our board meetings, because we have to go through that process.
This is Linda. I was on my special ed advisory council for 13 years, and we always had a school counselor as a member of our board. And so that might be a way to find ones that might want to do this, because they're already friendly to the disability community. Mm-hmm. So if you are with a district that has one, maybe that's a way to reach out. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
I'm also thinking I can look at previous CAC members, and maybe we'll bring one of them into the fold. That's a good suggestion. Anything else for that?
No, that's pretty much it. Dr. O'Neill, thanks for joining and stepping in Ramonda's absence and joining us as a guest. I know you're not an official member for voting privileges and those sort of things, but just being aware and giving your perspective and sitting in until if this is something you feel like you could be committed and want to join for future meetings, please let me know. And again, I know I told you we'll talk about onboarding. If you want to designate maybe somebody else from TA that may that you feel may be better suited for the commitment, please let me know, and we can kind of go from there as well. So I just want to thank you again for joining us and being with us today.
No, absolutely. It was informative, both as a sibling with an individual with IDD and also a child with a disability, though it's not IDD. So yeah, we'll definitely, I'm definitely interested in supporting it. I've been in meetings and other groups with Linda before, so I'm familiar with some of the people in the group. So I'll follow up with you and we can move forward.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks again.
Thank you. So last agenda item is our announcements. The first announcement I want to make is that the Houston Disability Chamber of Commerce is hosting their 5th Soaring to New Heights conference on September 30th. This is going to be done in partnership with Region 4 Education Service Center. They are inviting colleges and other presenters to submit ideas for presentations. So I guess I'm telling you guys about this conference for 2 reasons. One, if you want to present at this conference, there is an opportunity to submit a proposal. And then 2, this is parents, families, students attend this en masse every year. I've been going to this, I think, since the very first year, and every year I go, there are more people in attendance, which is awesome. I'm so happy that they're having the success. And so this is a way for families to really learn more about higher education opportunities that exist. And so please let families that y'all have connections with, if any, please let them know about the event. It is going to be virtual, and so transportation can't be an excuse not to attend. And I will be sending out additional information with sort of our wrap-up email, but I just wanted to put that on your radar. It's September 30th. Any other announcements? Brenda.
Hi, I have several. So UNT Elevar over the summer is very busy, although our students are not here. We are having our family and educator conference tomorrow. It's virtual. It's open to anybody and everybody across the country or internationally if you want to. And this year we're focusing on advocacy. We're going to have a panel of community folks. Ashley is going to be one of them. We're very excited to share a little bit more about how can we advocate for students with ID, specifically and support them. We'll also have a panel of family members, which will include parents, but also a grandmother and a sister of one of our of some of our students, our current students, to talk a little bit about advocacy from the family perspective. And then finally, our always most exciting one is our student panel. So current UNT Elevar panel of the students panel around 11 o'clock. So there's that. We still have opening for our summer program for students with ID, middle school or high school students, completely free, a whole week, and it's also virtual. So it can be accessible through anywhere, focusing on career exploration, independent living, and transition-related skills. And then finally, we have our Educator Institute in July as well. And that is also open for any educators or anybody else really that wants to come and join us. And it's virtual with top researchers in the field. So we're very excited about them.
Thank you, Brenda. Y'all are doing awesome work. Linda?
I have an announcement. Texas Parent to Parent is having its statewide conference July 14th and 15th, and it just opened. The registration just opened up yesterday. There are a lot of transition topics. There's a topic about accommodations in the workplace. And when you bring your self-advocate to the conference, they have a choice of going to any track they want. At any given time, there are 6 topics, or they may be in the peer-to-peer summit, which runs the entire length of the conference. And I will put the brochure in the chat, or you can just go to our Texas Parent to Parent website. Thank you.
That also reminds me. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just wanted to also reiterate that, can you all hear me? We have a online program now in Vast Academy at HCC, so students can take our program and they don't have to live in Houston. So I just wanted to reiterate that because I am in the process right now of interviewing students for the fall for our new cohort. So if there are students that, if you're aware of students that may want to attend, or just let them know that they can take our program online, because I know there's still areas where students do not have a college to go to, or they're not able to get there, and we are doing an online cohort. And we just graduated this year, I think, was it 10 students from that cohort. Last year I think we graduated 5, but it's a smaller cohort, but it is definitely, they can take it, they don't have to live in Houston. So I think that's one of the benefits of doing the online. So I just wanted to make sure y'all knew that. So I could probably, what I need to do is probably email y'all our flyer or something too, so you can share it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. I love how accessible that is. Anything else we would like to discuss today? Well, I really appreciate all of y'all's patience this morning as we were working with the technology and figuring out how to stream this and be heard and seen and all of those things. And so thank you. I think I'm really hoping that we can ramp up our activities this year and get back in business now that Waylon and I have added our, not together, but definitely we have added our 2 children in the past short time span here. And so now that we've grown our families, we're ready to get back in action and get busy with this advisory council. And so I appreciate y'all's, commitment to this to our goals here and to our vision for Texas. So thank you guys. And so we'll be in touch with, follow up, and then we'll be scheduling our next meeting pretty soon so we can get busy and get to work. So. And do I need a motion to adjourn?
That's it.
I need a motion to adjourn, y'all. Who wants to make a motion?
This is Brenda. I move to a motion. I'm sorry. I move for adjournment today.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Duke?
Oh, I'll second it.
Okay, well, we are right on time. The meeting is now adjourned at 12 o'clock. And y'all have a great weekend. Happy Friday. It's so good to see all of y'all's faces.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Good meeting, Waylon.